Hi everyone, I finally got around to making the companion video to my fights at the April Fool's tournament. If you are interested in the unedited footage of those fights, you can find a link to that in the description down below. If you don't want to see all my fights in their entirety, because, well, who's got time for that anyway, but you do want to get a general overview of my fencing as well as some background information, analysis and commentary, you're watching the right video. So without any further ado, let's head back to Turin and recap that April Fool's event. April Fool's was organized by Solidarmi del Folle, and God, I do hope I pronounced it right. They are a HEMA group based in Turin, Italy. This year was the first time this event was held, but with plenty of organizational experience behind the scenes, this event went off without a hitch. It offered a couple of workshops, one of which taught by yours truly, as well as a Sidesword tournament, a women's Longsword tournament and an open Longsword tournament. Now, on to the event. So far, I've always started these commentary videos by saying just how badly I felt leading up to the tournament. And I'm glad to be able to break that trend now. I've been feeling in very good physical shape lately, perhaps even better than before my little fitness slump late 2018. I've been hitting the gym quite regularly and putting up numbers that I'm happy with again. And likewise, technically I feel like I've been making some progress as well. At the very least, I feel a lot more competent now than I did in January, that's for sure. Even so, I always try to not set my goals too high whenever I go into competition. In fact, I never go into any tournament expecting to win. In my mind, that's the wrong kind of goal to set anyway. My goals are usually more focused on my own actions and not my outcomes. For the Longsword tournament, my goal was just to relax, have fun, thrust a bit here and there, and see if I could show off some of the stuff that I've been working on. For Sidesword, like any weapon I don't train much in, my goal was simply to look like I know what I'm doing to a casual observer. Which isn't easy, because if there's one picture that best summarizes my experience with Sidesword, it's this one. I do have some single stick and rapier experience that I could use, and I may have inserted a bit of sneaky longsword in there. Somehow this was enough to net me 4th place in Sidesword, which is absolutely crazy. I really liked this tournament though, I had a great deal of fun, I was completely relaxed. So that relaxed state that I had in Sidesword? Yeah, not there for Longsword. Before I get into that though, let's get something out of the way first. Alright, so that was a whole load of thrusts. And if you've watched any of my other commentary videos, you know that thrusts make me very happy indeed. One thrust that made me particularly happy is this one that you're seeing right now. And the reason I'm happy about this one is that it's not just a thrust. After the thrust landed, we sort of move on fighting and we get into a bit of a wrestle. And then I somehow managed to place an Unterschnitt on the arms of Arto. And this is something that never happens. An Unterschnitt, to me at least, is like really rare. So seeing that here in a competition makes me really happy. Anyway, I just put these here so there's something to come back to whenever I get a bit too negative about my own performance. Because as I said, I was not relaxed at all during the Longsword tournament. I have no idea why. The way it affects my fencing though is that I become tense and static, and my ability to just flow from one movement to another is impaired. There is a whole slew of stuff I did wrong, but I'll just focus on a few of the most important ones. Number 1. Not daring to commit to an attack. You can see that I'm sort of just hovering in distance. I already moved my hands forward for an attack, but I just don't commit. Sometimes I get away with it. Other times my opponents do the right thing and hit me in the hands. How to fix this? Unfortunately, there is no magic method. It's mostly a mental thing. You need to be able to completely trust that your technique will keep you safe. If there's any doubt, high stress situations will amplify this with very annoying results. 2. Overcommitting to attacks. This is the exact opposite of the previous point, but at the same time it's also pretty much the same point. you don't fully trust the technique, so you try to compensate by just doing it harder and faster. Again, there's no easy fix. Trust your technique. And this is the most egregious example that I could find. You can just see how the strike leaves me completely off balance. I hit the first strike, I cover the afterblow, and then I make a wild swing that leaves me completely off balance. I was actually going, "Come on, Michel, what the hell are you doing?" as I was walking back to my corner. Because the problem is, whenever you do overcommit and you miss, then your opponent has a very easy time hitting you back. More importantly though, if you do hit, the attack will be very hard and painful, and even though this is a martial art, we're definitely not supposed to damage our opponents if we can in any way prevent that. 3. I start reaching. Of course, you could put this in the overcommitment category, but it's a very different sort of situation, because in the previous point I tried to compensate with speed and force, while here I try to compensate with reach. As you can see, I'm sort of giving up my body structure to gain a few inches more reach. The trade-off isn't very good though, because of the weaker structure it's now far easier to cut through my defense and land a hit on me. This exchange actually illustrates really well what I mean by this. You can see that even in my first attacks I start reaching quite far forward, and I do manage to land the thrust, but because I'm reaching so far forward and my structure is not intact, Artok is completely free to hit me in the head because I can't close the opening soon enough. As soon as you start sacrificing form and structure for reach, you're going to get hit in the head. The thing is, according to the rules of this tournament, his afterblow didn't count because I had hit him in the head with a thrust first. However, as far as I'm concerned, that's besides the point. I don't want to be safe according to the rules, I want to be safe, period. Whew. Okay, breathe. So, before I start wrapping up this video, I'd first like to have a brief look at some exchanges that I am happy with, because those still do exist. I just kind of want to do the whole feedback sandwich thing. Praise first, then criticism, and end with praise again, right? Besides, I just need to blow off some steam after ranting about my mistakes for a few minutes. Okay, that's better. So, let's wrap this up then. After a sudden death in the semi-finals, and a best-of-3 final against Arto that went the full 3 rounds, I eventually managed to win the Longsword tournament by the skin of my teeth. Even though I won gold, however, I'm not 100% satisfied with my performance. When I look at the footage, I see so much that I want to improve. So the question is, did I manage to do what I set out to do? Well, I did have fun, I did land thrusts, and I did show off some stuff, though not nearly as much as I would like, but relaxing, not so much. And I still don't really know why I got so nervous. I mean, obviously there's always a base level of nervousness in competition, because that's how you know you're ready to go out there. But I guess the lesson here is that even years of tournament experience do exceptionally little to decrease competition nerves. So where do I go from here? Well, my next big event will be the HEMA tournament at the European Games in Minsk, so that's a huge event to look forward to. I'll be working specifically on regaining faith in my initial attacks, as well as on keeping my position and structure intact regardless of stress levels. Other than that though, I kind of like the trajectory I'm on now, technically as well as physically. All I need to do is make sure I do the stuff in competition that I know I can do, instead of instinctively doing things that are less than optimal. So even though I sounded quite critical in this review, I'm actually quite happy with what happened in the tournament. After all, it gave me a whole bunch of very valuable feedback on what to work on, and that's exactly what I'll be doing.